What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with kind of a recent pickups video. And I really loved the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. I wasn't expecting to, but I can tell you that if you have not seen that new Batman movie, it's incredible. And I wanted to get a 9.8 graded comic related to that movie. And there's one that's like a red foil comic that there's like hundreds and hundreds of them. And it wasn't very exciting. But I found out about a book that they gave away to IMAX customers, people that paid up for the IMAX movie version of the Batman movie that came out. They gave away a comic, and I looked it up on the census, and there was only like 50 of them in a 9.8 grade, probably because, you know, people mostly threw them away. So then I got intrigued, and I looked it up on eBay to see if there are any CGC 9.8s for that book. And they usually sell for about 150 bucks or so, but everybody on eBay wanted like $200. So I bought a bunch of raw comics because I had a credit with my presser, my comic book presser, and then I also had a $150 credit with CGC. And so I was like, well, if I buy some raw comics, maybe I'll get lucky and get a 9.8. So I bought 4 copies, sent them to my presser to use the credit I had with him, sent them to CGC to get them graded. I was hoping for one 9.8 out of the 4 I sent, in which case it would, you know, all in for all 4 copies, I paid maybe 80 bucks for them. So I figured with shipping everything, I got about 100 bucks in 4 comics. I got 4 chances to get a 9.8. And I did get a 9.8. And here we go. So this is the Batman, this is the special edition for The Long Halloween. And if you watch the movie, it takes place on Halloween, and it's just one of those movies that's probably, in my opinion, one of the best Batman movies ever made. We've got the Riddler. Colin Farrell played the Penguin, and he's unrecognizable. It's just unbelievable. It had Catwoman, and then obviously Robert Pattinson as Batman, but it's just an awesome cover. The Long Halloween #1, this is, I think it's a reprint of the original Long Halloween. It's just got a special cover on there, and these were given out to IMAX customers, special edition, and I believe they also showed up in a few Walmart multi-packs. So tough to get in a high grade, but I did get a 9.8 on the first one. So there you go. And then, so the other 3, I was not expecting a 9.8, but I got a 9.8 on all 4 of them. So pretty amazing. I'm not going to keep all 4 of them. I'll probably sell 2 and keep 2. But it's just a great cover, and I'm sorry about the glare here. But it's just one of those great covers that I just wanted to add to my collection. Not a particularly expensive book, but it just shows you that, you know, with a little bit of investment and being very careful with zooming in on the photos. I mean, I bought all of these comics from eBay, and I just zoomed in on the photos to look for spine ticks, and some of them do have spine ticks, you know, they're just non-color breaking. So there's one right there, you know. So CGC took mercy on me. There's a little spine tick right there. So CGC took mercy on me with a couple of these because I really was pretty convinced they would get 9.6s, but never underestimate the power of a good comic book presser. And I used Magic Pressing on Instagram. Highly recommended. Anthony is his name, and you know, he just does a fantastic job. And he managed to get 9.8s for all 4 of them. So I can't believe it, but just an incredible job he did to salvage what, in my opinion, were not 9.8s, but they did sneak by. You can see a little crease right there, a little spine tick right there. So very minor defects on the books overall. But I noticed on the back there was some spine roll that he was able to kind of press out. So, but you know, if you haven't seen the movie, you got to see it. I mean, it's just one of those incredibly acted movies. I can't wait for the sequel, and I just wanted to have one of these in my collection to kind of, you know, just because I love the movie so much. So, pretty fun project to do is to, you know, over the course of the last 3 months or so, I just tried to identify on eBay raw copies of this that I thought had a chance at a 9.8. I was hoping for one of the 4, and all 4 of them did come back with a 9.8. So very happy with that. I also did pick up a loose graded vintage Kenner figure as well as a mint on card tri-logo that we're going to go over right now. So I was surfing on Deal or No Deal on Facebook, and if you're not familiar with that Facebook group, people just list stuff and they say, make me an offer. And if the offer works, then they say deal. If the offer doesn't work, they say no deal. And a Lando, not a General Lando, but a Lando Calrissian Bespin version from The Empire Strikes Back, mint on card, got listed on there. And I was kind of watching it kind of half-heartedly, watching the bids, and somebody bid 300, and the seller said, no deal, but getting close. And I was like, well, that's kind of surprising. It was an AFA-graded Palitoy Tri-Logo Lando Calrissian. So I threw in a bid of 375, and lo and behold, he took it. It's just one of those Tri-Logos that I didn't have, number one, and it's also tough to find. I feel like you don't see them very often. So before I show you that, I wanted to at least pull off a couple of my loose-graded Landos, just for informational purposes, for maybe some of you who haven't been on the channel that long, or, you know, just haven't seen some of these. But this one was another one I picked up on Facebook. This is a Spanish figure. So it's labeled Kenner/PBP European Red-Brown Skin Lando Calrissian. And it got the 85. I submitted this to AFA myself, archival case. And this one does have the metallic Spanish Bespin blaster. That's a very desirable blaster. If you guys follow, you know, the channel at all, you guys probably know what you're looking at there. But it's a very unique paint scheme for that Spanish blaster, and very desirable. Just that blaster alone can sell for $350 or more. So this seller had this one. It looked super mint. I bought it. I submitted it to AFA, and it did get the 85. So you can see how light brown the skin is on him. And so that was a really nice pickup. That was several years ago. And then another one I picked up already graded was this one. This is the Lily Letty version. And you can see how much darker the skin is on him and how different the paint apps are. So his skin is a lot darker, and he has no pupils painted, or you know, the white of the eyes is not painted on the Lily Letty figure. It also has a very wide Lily Letty Bespin blaster. You can see how wide the handle is on that one relative to the Spanish PBP metallic blaster. So some of the unique tells for it. So this one I already picked up. I picked up already graded again on Facebook, and this one was an archival case as well, AFA 80 Lily Letty Lando, and it does have the China COO. It's not the China figure. I do have the China COO. That's a different figure, but it just happens to have the China COO because that's the mold that the Lily Letty factory used to make the Lily Letty version of Lando. So those are the two most exciting ones. I've got like 7 different loose graded Landos, but I finally did pick up a mint on card, and I had a mint on card at one point. I had one that I picked up from Chris over at Rogue 5 Toys, and it was, I think, a 41 back A Empire Strikes Back. Bought it ungraded, submitted to CAS, it got an 80 grade, and then Chris said, that looks really nice, I want that back. And I was like, really? Really, dude? So I bought it from Chris. He asked for it back. I sent it back to him and gave it to him. So that's how nice of a guy I am. We do that kind of stuff all the time, though. We always trade, and, you know, we always make each other whole, so to speak. I think he sent me an AFA 85 Leia Hoth red hair and a AFA 85 Han Solo trench coat. Both of those loose graded. So, you know, it wasn't exactly even, but in terms of what I paid for that ESB 41 back Lando, it worked out. But this is the Tri-Logo that I did pick up on Deal or No Deal. It was a really good deal, I feel like. It's graded AFA 80+, and it is overgraded, in my opinion, which I'll show you in a second. But 70 back B Lando, 80+ was the grade. The card got an 85, which I disagree with. Blister got an 80, figure 85. I agree with both of those subscores. The card 85 score was very generous. Now, in all fairness to the seller, he did disclose in the photos what was going on with it. But in my opinion, it's probably overgraded. Now, it looks great from the front, right? The card looks fantastic. You can kind of see it nice up close. Now, this is the no COO Palitoy version of Lando. I do have that one loose graded as well. He's kind of known for very wild looking eyes, and the skin color is a little darker than the Spanish figure. So here's the Spanish figure. It's kind of a light brown color versus this one. It's a little darker. It's not as dark as the Lily Letty, though. And I'm only showing you this information just for informational purposes. So you can see how dark the Lily Letty is relative to the Palitoy Lando. So it's not as dark as the Lily Letty. but it is darker than the Spanish figure. So that's just FYI type stuff. But you can see how nice the card is. Now, it does have a little bit of edge wear that you can see, but very minor. So you're like, huh, okay, I got an 85. Now, here's where I'm surprised it really got the 85. You can see right here, there's a non-color breaking crease, which the seller did disclose, that does not poke through to the other side. And this is something that Chris Whitlock has mentioned in Chris Whitlock is an owner of Collector Archive Services. He mentioned this in a comment on one of my videos talking about how the grading companies grade mint on cards. And he did say that they will definitely overlook to a certain extent any creases that are non-color breaking on the back of the card versus the front. So from the front, it really displays nice. You really can't see any kind of crease on the front, right? So it's just on the back of the card. So at least with CAS, that's how they do it, and apparently AFA is the same way. Now, in my opinion, it's an 80 card score, so it'd be 80 for the blister, which I agree with. It's got some light dimpling to it, and then an 85 for the figure score. So I think it's an overall 80 or 80 plus either way, but it's very generous that they gave this one an 85 for the card score. And again, I don't care about any of that. I'm just giving you my opinion and trying to explain where I think items are overgraded versus undergraded. You know, like my Power of the Force, or excuse me, my Tri-Logo Luke's Stormtrooper that's graded AFA 80, it's got no creases at all, and it only got an 80 for the card score, and it's in much better shape than this one. So, you know, grading is not a science, okay? This is something that Reserved Investments, who's a YouTuber that's a much bigger channel than mine, but he talked about this when it came to the CGC reholdering scandal. Grading is not a science, okay? It's not a scientific thing. It's an art, and each grader is going to assign an item with a different grade depending on what they see. And for whatever reason, whoever graded this Lando Palitoy gave the card score an 85, and then whoever graded the Luke Stormtrooper Palitoy Tri-Logo that I have gave that card score an 80. And in my opinion, it should be reversed. It should be an 85 for the Luke Stormtrooper. So you never know what you're going to get when you send stuff in to be grading. And I've had stuff overgraded, and I've had stuff undergraded. I've got some die-casts coming back from Collector Archive Services, loose die-casts that I think are absolutely stunning. And in my opinion, they're probably slightly overgraded. 2 of the 3 of them are. One of them, I think, was probably undergraded. So, you know, it just depends. It all depends on what they see. So that was the big kind of mint on card pickup. That's my first, I got these items that I'm going to show you. I really got them at the end of 2023, but I had already made my collecting year in review video. So they're going to go into 2024. It was like the very last 3 or 4 days of 2023 when I got these. All right, so now we're going to do the opposite. So, with Lando, I didn't have any mint on cards. But for the Cloud Car palette, I've got only mint on cards. I did not have a loose graded figure. And I pulled out, just for fun, 3 of my favorites. And so we've got the proof card, the Revenge of the Jedi proof card, that's graded 80 plus. I picked that up on Hakes. I've got the Transition 48 back free Neon Numb offer, Return of the Jedi, graded AFA 80, unpunched. That's a stunner. And then here's the debut card for the Cloud Car palette, which was the Star Wars Display Arena Empire Strikes Back 45 back. And this one is a yellowed blister, but there was a really nice clear blister AFA 80 on eBay Europe, and I was so tempted to buy it, and it sat and it sat and it sat. It finally did sell, and I'm like, thank God, because I was really tempted to buy it to upgrade this one. This one's graded 80 plus, but it is yellowed, right? 85, 85, 80, 80 plus. So, maybe I'll upgrade this one to a clear blister at some point. If I don't particularly care. But, my Cloud Car run is all mint on cards. I think I've got a total of 6 mint on cards plus the proof card. But Jason W., who is a Patreon supporter, but more importantly, a good buddy of mine, he sent me this AFA 85 Cloud Car palette loose graded as a gift. And he has sent me a number of just insanely generous gifts. He apparently upgraded his loose Cloud Car palette to an 85 plus. And so he had this AFA 85, as you can see here. This is just the standard Hong Kong. He had this 85, and instead of maybe offering it to me for me to buy it from him, he just randomly showed up at my door right around Christmas as a Christmas gift. So brand new case style, absolutely stunning figure, and it's every bit of an 85. I mean, look how beautiful and bright white that is. The beautiful yellow boots and yellow gloves. It's just one of those weird figures that doesn't really have much playability because of this arm, but he's got that communicator, he's got that weapon, and I played with this figure for some reason a lot growing up, and so I've always had an affinity for it, and this is just a beautiful example of the Cloud Car Pilot, just a really stunning example. And there are some variations for the Cloud Car Pilot. You've got the Lily Letty version, which is very expensive, loose graded in like an 80 grade, it would probably be $1,300 to $1,500. There's also a very tough to find paleface Spanish PBP version of the Cloud Car Pilot, and it's a similar story. It's a very, very expensive figure. So I probably would never get both of those figures. I want to say that they both go for, $1,300 to $1,500, even ungraded in high grade. So I saw one. I actually saw a Spanish PBP for sale. Another Patreon supporter, Jameson, was looking at one on the Echo Base Vintage Variants group on Facebook. So if you're into those foreign variants, that is a great group, the Echo Base Vintage Variants group. Lots of European sellers that have access to a lot of these Spanish figures like the Lando. I think that's actually where I got my Spanish Lando with the metallic blue blaster. So I think I did get it on the Echo Base Vintage Variants group from a gentleman in Spain, and made it here safe. I sent it to AFA and it got the 85. So lots of great figures that you can find on that group. And of course, the Tri-Logo Lando that I just got was on the Deal or No Deal group. So never discount the Facebook groups, and in my opinion, you're going to get better deals there than on eBay or Hakes or anywhere else. You just got to keep your eye out and just keep your head on a swivel. And I just check the groups when I'm actually in the mood to shop. I check the groups, every few hours sometimes if I'm off from work. But lately I haven't really been buying that much, and I just happened to go on to Deal or No Deal when that Lando was listed, and so I made a kind of what I thought was a lowball offer, $375 for an AFA 80 plus Tri-Logo Lando. To me, that was a really great deal. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of cover some of these variants in my collection and show you the recent pickups. I hope you enjoyed looking at them. I don't do these kinds of videos enough, and I do get requests to do these videos more often, but just hard to find time to kind of pull everything out when I have a quiet house. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.